So my dad got it for me when I was a kid. My brother and I grew up playing it. 64, Melee, Brawl. Brawl came out when I was in middle school, and so I started running tournaments in my parents' basement at the time. Had no concept of a competitive scene whatsoever. I mean, if I could go back and find some of the rule sets that I had for you guys, you would be laughing your butts off the rest of the night. It was like 10 stocks, certain items were on, some crazy stage transformations,
Oh yeah, I
just some crazy stuff.
I had some of
Um,
those too. I had like a tag team rule set. Like you had to stand on opposite sides. I can't remember what stage. Maybe it was like Congo Jungle because it's got those side platforms, and you
mhm.
could like tag in and stuff. It was some rule set that completely would never work, but we were trying it out.
That actually sounds like a super dope like side event though. Like
Yeah,
I'm not
what
even
what my brother ended up doing was just playing Samus, and then he would charge shot, and like if you dodged it, it could hit the person on the platform, and like that became a huge controversy.
that's
Explaining the
hilarious.
rules.
Well, inevitably I finally found like the competitive scene in it. Even though Brawl was out at the time, it was like Melee where I started and it was still in my parents' basement. So we started just having like friends group, like my friend group come in and play. It would be like 10 to 12 guys on a weekend. But then when Smash 4, no, I think it was actually with Brawl. I think it was with Brawl. We started doing this annual tournament when school was out at the end of May and June, where it got to a point where the last one we did at my parents' house, because I believe I was a senior in high school, was 40 to 50 kids. And I remember my parents were like, we had setups in the basement, in the garage, the living room, the dining room. I remember I bought a bunch of pop for everybody and like I made it into a smash ball. And I thought I was the coolest person ever for doing that. But so my parents afterwards were like, hey, Spencer, like it's cool that you're passionate about this and all, but we don't ever want to see 50 kids in our house again. Like it was a mess. So at that time, I believe Smash 4 just came out. And so the following year, I had a connection through my now in laws at a local UFCW Local 1059, which is a union here in Columbus, Ohio, United Food and Commercial Workers. And they were nice enough to give me a venue for free to run the first cost. And so I renamed it Cost. And I remember like trying to figure out what I was going to name it at the time. And I was playing around with all these different acronyms. And I was like, you know what? Central Ohio Smash Tournament, Cost, easy. Like, we're going to do that. And so we hosted it there. I did venue and game entry, and then just did the venue as a pop bonus. And a lot of people give Cosmos a lot of flack for not coming to Ohio tournaments. But most of Ohio doesn't know that the person that won the original cost was Cosmos. It was his first
Really?
tournament in Ohio. I don't think anybody knows that, like except for the people that were there. We ended up with around, I think, I'd have to go back and look at the numbers. It was like 60 or 70 total entrants. At the time, it was when Geist was first like coming on the scene. Sylvanas still played. So it was Geist finished third, Sylvanas finished second, and Cosmos won the tournament. Then the next year, we ended up taking it to Game Arena, which is now my employer. And so that was when we brought out Fatality. That was Cost 2018, I believe. And then it just kept growing from there.
Heck yeah. Dude, that's cool to hear, honestly. I like how it's
Yeah.
all interconnected. You started it, you ran one of your events at Game Arena, now you work there, right?
Yeah, so a name drop here. I don't know how familiar like the ultimate scene will be with this name. You guys might be more familiar with it, but shouts out to Zetz, the Melee content creator and caster, former player here in Columbus. He's actually the one that really put me on to like competitive Melee, and then connected me with a lot of people throughout Ohio. I still keep in touch with him, but I believe he's out in Seattle, Washington now. So just a little shout out to him.
Think so. Does he still make content?
I'm not sure. I haven't talked to him in a while. The last time I talked to him was about sports. It wasn't even Smash related.
That's fair. That's fair. You know, like we start getting to a certain age and we start talking about other things.
Yeah, listen, after like 2 years of Smash Ultimate, I know I have a podcast where I'm talking about it, but like I'm never like tweeting about it anymore or like hitting up my close buddies. It's nice chatting to people I've never chatted with before. But
Right.
like me and my friends that like played the game together aren't just like still talking about cloud frame data or whatever. So you
Yeah,
change
I
subjects
actually
eventually.
when you reached out to have me on the show, which again I appreciate it, guys. I was actually looking through my tweets because you tagged me in the post, and I was like, man, anybody that doesn't know me is gonna come to my Twitter and be like, does he even do anything with Smash? Because it's just like the last tweet was about a local concert. Then there was a college football tweet. Then there was like a random like Logan Paul tweet or something like that. There was no Smash anywhere there.
That's really funny though. Yeah, I don't know. We're like the retirement home, right? Like we're all getting up to that age where we're not as I don't grind and smash like I used to. That's for sure.
You don't
Uh
even have the game.
I don't. It's
What?
I borrowed everybody else's switches. Did the stream die by the way?
Yeah,
I,
it died, but I'm recording it, so we can just like keep
Oh, we'll just keep
going,
going.
and the YouTube video will be fine.
Oh, okay. That's fine. And when we inevitably get it on Spotify, God forbid.
Yeah,
One of
yeah.
these
The
days.
Spotify version will be perfect, except for this segue where we're talking about putting it on Spotify.
Uh,
I
so
can't believe you don't have the game.
I, it just never came up. I didn't have enough money to get a Switch, so and everybody else had a Switch, and I could just play it like that, you know. So
True.
whenever we had events, everyone else was just bringing them. Like, okay, well, I brought the computer for streaming. I felt like that was a good amount of work, right?
Yeah, that's a good investment.
My other question here, which is funny, was about how did you get into it TOing, but it sounds like you just jumped right into it immediately.
Yeah, so I we kind of I want to be careful with how I word this because like I don't want to keep anybody from becoming a TO. Like I don't want to gatekeep or anything like that. I do feel
Okay.
like a lot of people think organizers, but maybe they don't. I don't know. I want to be careful with that because I want to continuously like tell people to like and train people and build them up to become tournament organizers. Of which I had several people that did that for me. Not to name drop people, but I mean more shout outs. The Keist, who's like a legendary fighting games TO here in Columbus, Ohio. He gave me tutorials. Mindset. Him and I were at the time kind of coming up around the same time. He's my right hand man for a lot of stuff. Um, there were so many names, so many people that helped me along the way. And so that's what I mean when I say I want to be careful to like not keep somebody from who wants to be a tournament organizer. I don't want to gatekeep them. I want to be the person that helps them to make it to this level that all three of us are very lucky to be at. Um, but no, it's a matter of hard work and it's a matter of the right place, the right time. Obviously, anybody can do the hard work. Um, Sometimes you got to be lucky. I met the right people. I pissed off the right people. Ori, I I scheduled over him. The first cost scheduled over the Michigan Arcadian, uh, and him and I had some words back and forth, and now we're chill. He's like an idol to me. Like a lot of stuff. Let me backtrack a little bit. When I first got into the competitive scene and running tournaments, a lot of what I did was I would actually stay behind the scenes and just watch people. So I would watch other TOs and what they would do, and I would like take notes. And Ori was definitely one of those people. Keys, who I already mentioned, and Columbus was one of those people. But I would like go to these tournaments and I would enter and I would go 0-2 or 1-2. Or like I remember there was one round robin tournament where I went 0-5, but we don't talk about that. And so I would play, but then I would stay for the whole thing and just watch what they were doing. I would talk to the commentators and they would be like, who the heck is this guy? I would talk to the pool captains. I would talk to the head organizers to the point where I'd probably annoy them because they were trying to run a tournament. But I would just try to soak up as much information as I could. And so the few years that I did that really helped when I got to a bigger stage. And I still think I have a long way to go. I think we all do. Um, to make Ultimate, to make Smash as a whole, like to hit the ceiling. There's still a long way to go. But yeah, I continuously strive to get there, and the people around me are the reason that I'm even in this position to begin with.
Heck
That's
yeah.
pretty cool. I myself have a policy that like I'll never like big time any other TO trying to like start up anything. You can be trying to run a 5-person tournament and I'll tell you like here's how you like set up the rule sets. Here I'll make your start GG page for you if you can't figure it out, stuff like that. Like and I even help other like the other guys that run regionals and stuff, and I've never asked anybody for money, but I've always just kind of hoped maybe they'd give me some money. But hey, if you need an extra
There's
hand to run a pool or something, I'm there. I'm gonna make sure every tournament in Michigan is as good as it can be.
No,
So
that's exactly how it should be, and that's why I pause and stop, because I don't want it to come across that way whatsoever. That's the way it should be. I do find it hilarious whenever I see those tweets, and I know it's satire of them talking about how much money we bring home after tournaments. It cracks me up. Cost 2022, I was negative in my own bank account. Like it just happens, but
Yep.
it cracks me up every single time I see those tweets. Whether it's the same one that pops back up in my timeline, it always makes me laugh. It's good satire.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think we actually had a very similar upbringing when I got into the space. Have some already established TOs that you're kind of learning under and like working for free. I mean, we all do free labor, you know. That's the bread and butter of esports, right? We don't have any
Oh
money to
yeah.
pay people. No, but I try to tell people and encourage them to just like assist their local TOs because that's probably the best thing that you can do as a TO getting into it. Like run your own events, yeah, and like definitely put some stuff out there. But people just like you got to go out. You got to get out of your little bubble and like be involved in the greater scene because it's gonna give you dividends with it. I'm sure that we have all have a bit of nuggets of knowledge that we can impart onto people. Hopefully they'll listen to us. I know I was really bad at listening when I started too.
No, I think that's just being young. But no, that's you said it better than what I was trying to say. That's exactly what I mean. Like you have to get out of your bubble. You can't you have to get out of the mindset that you can do everything on your own. Like it takes a village, and you have to like get out of your comfort zone, go talk to people, bounce ideas off of each other, and it's a great place to start by just finding your local TO and helping them out. That's 100% correct. I agree with that.
For sure.
So, what would you consider your biggest accomplishment as a TO so far?
Oh, hmm. I want to say the easy answer is cost, but I'm going to give you a different one. So this isn't exactly TOing. It's more. I know there's a little bit of an overlap in the definition of an admin and a TO, but so I actually was the stage admin for the CECC Atlanta. So the collegiate national, it's not really a national championship, but it's the largest collegiate tournament ran um, to date, and that was 64 teams consisting of the titles were Smash, Rocket League, Valorant, and Overwatch. And yeah, this was down in Atlanta where the WNBA team plays. So it was in a stadium. It was a stadium tournament, and there was a lot of hiccups, and there was a lot of like stuff to be learned, and it was so much work. But it was like 14 to 16-hour days for 4 days straight to make this happen. And I just remember driving home from Atlanta because we did not fly. So afterwards, we had the 8.5 hour drive back to Columbus.
Man.
And
Yep.
I remember driving home and just being like, hey, this wasn't perfect. And there's a lot that needs to be changed. And there's a lot that we still need to do with it to make it like the best product as that we can. But it was something that I was proud of. And thank you to the team out there. If you're watching, you know who you are. That allowed me to have that role.
Cool.
I
That's cool.
I was expecting costs, so I'm glad that we got a different answer.
Yeah,
That's good.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
thought it was it's giving you a softball one. I
No,
guess.
I'll tell you what. Cost this so I'm a person that gets very stressed. I think a lot of times people see us and they think that, oh, we have our stuff 100% together. But because we have the face, like we don't like show outward panic.
Yep.
So I think a lot of times they think we're just like cool, calm, and collective 100% of the time. And when it came to cost, like I was a nervous wreck, but like we made it work. And I can't tell you how long my list is of things that I want to change for 2023 to make it better. But that besides the point, um, the stress amount for cost was here. The stress amount for that event in Atlanta was like somewhere way up here. It was I have no envy for the people who do stage adminning for like the world championship for like League of Legends and like Overwatch League and all of that. I remember I was proud of it, but I was like, I'm not doing that again. That was insane. Having the production team in your ear, having the other TOs in your ear, and it's just nonstop for 14 to 16 hours.
Dude, that's got to be insane. That's got to have been an insane experience.
Yeah.
Man, so I have a list here. You kind of touched on it a bit, but I'm kind of interested of your career outside of Smash. Like Smash is where you got your start, parents' basement. Now you're running some of the biggest esports events in history, right? How is that?
So yeah, again, out of your comfort zone. So when I was hired on, so I'll backtrack. I was working full time in logistics for a company called Forward Air. Ironically enough, it was called Forward Air. Um, so I was working, I was happy, but I was feeling like I wasn't going anywhere. And then I got the opportunity to work full time in esports with Game Arena and Esports Foundry. So when I stepped into that role, all I knew was Super Smash Bros. I didn't know Counter Strike. I didn't know Valorant. I didn't know. I mean, I knew Rocket League, but like I didn't know like all these other titles. And so I got humbled very quickly. Of like, hey, here's a Counter Strike tournament. Like, here's all the back end stuff you have to do even to prepare for it. And it was it was humbling, and I learned from a lot of the TOs who I work with on a daily basis. Austin Powelson is a name of a guy who takes absolutely no credit for anything that he does. He's very very to himself, likes to be behind the scenes, does not like to be the face of anything. So I like to shout him out. He ran the largest Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 launch land back in November in the United States. But you would walk by him and have no idea it was him. So I get to learn from people like that. I get to learn from Big Boss, who used to run FGC and Smash events up in Northeast Ohio. Um, a bunch of people. So I don't know if I'm answering your question, but yeah, I started to diversify and branch out to different titles. Started doing collegiate tournaments, as you are very familiar with. Started just figuring out as many titles as I could be a part of, running those tournaments, or at least if I'm not TOing them, being an assistant and helping and just watching. So that's how I kind of fell in love with Valorant. That's how I kind of fell in love with League of Legends. Now I don't play either of those games myself, but I very much enjoy spectating and running tournaments that involve those titles. So I don't know if that answered the question. I feel like I kind of
Oh,
like
it definitely did.
politically went around it.
It seems to be that your career is going well outside of just Smash. Then I think that I've touched on this a bit with Cages when I was brought into the show initially, that Smash TOs really have to jump ship into a different space to be able to like kind of cement themselves. Like I know, um, I feel like I mean I joined a couple other TOs that were jumping into it, but now Pac Diesel, Ori, some of the other like big TM TOs are getting into the collegiate space, and I think collegiate is a really good space for Smash. And I think that once you finally get into like the corporate esports, right, it's beyond just Smash. There's so much more that you could potentially get opportunities to open up for it. But these skill sets that you've created, and I think that a lot of TOs don't necessarily view it as skill sets, right? But you're working for free for a reason, right? Like you are gaining a lot of different skills, and it's something that I always always thought was funny. Like I'd walk into an event now and I'm like, oh yeah, I knew how to do networking because I did that when I was running, some shitty ass Call of Duty lands. Um, but it's just really important stuff that you just start putting onto your resume. So no, it's really good to hear that TOs that are started in Smash really have successful careers going forward. So no, I'm
Yeah,
glad that things are going well for you, man.
yeah. So branching out, actually, I would say it made me a better Smash TO. Like like going out and doing other titles and then coming back, it's made me more calm. It's made me less frantic. It makes me appreciate the scene that I come from, and like Smash will always be my go-to title no matter what games that I run, no matter like what happens in the future. Like the second that you tell me, oh, there's an ultimate tournament and we want you to help run it, I'm gonna be like, yeah, like I want to be a part of it, like as many as I can. So yeah, I will always, ultimate will always be my day one.
Yeah. You want to get the next one, KJs?
Hold on, I'm explaining something to the Discord. Go ahead and do it.
Oh,
Oh, I
I
got you.
will, Booker. I will say one other thing. Um, yeah, my career is going well, but esports has a long way. Like I think everybody that's on this, like the three of us, I think we're aware of that. But I think a lot of Smash players, Smash TOs, just people in general in the community, maybe a little bit more unfamiliar. The esports industry is, I always describe it as the Wild West, and it still is the Wild West. It's like everybody's going out there and they're trying to find their gold. Some people are lucky and they find it, but you have to be very lucky. It's still such a young industry that everybody is like scrapping and scraping by just to get theirs. Um, Hard work. I mean, it'll get you so far. Sometimes you have to have a little bit of luck, but we do it because we love it. We do it because we love the faces of the person who won amateur bracket. We love to see the friends that haven't seen each other in such a long time coming to our tournaments and interacting with each other. We love to see the parents supporting their kids, watching them up on stage for a child who maybe wasn't as athletically inclined and took to video games more so. So that's the stuff that I love, and I know that's the stuff that you love as well. Um, yeah, it's rewarding in different ways. Hopefully down the line it's even more and more successful, and hopefully it allows for more and more people to become successful in it.
So you kind of touched on the industry, how it is right now. And I do have some questions about the industry going forward, but I'm curious, this is kind of a big, um, I would almost say turning point. The esports industry is no stranger to kind of like economic downturns, right? But I think right now more than ever, we were seeing a massive amount of VC funding being pulled, right? We're seeing a massive amount of startups and other esports companies that were previously established brands, mixed with the whole crypto scandals, right? I mean, TSM,
Mm-hmm.
for instance. Um, how do you foresee the industry kind of shaking up? Like, do you think this is going to continue? Do you think we're going to be evening out? Like, do you see a lot of the industry surviving past this point?
So the optimistic answer is yes. The pessimistic answer is something that involves stocks. I don't know. It's there's always going to be the upturn. We just have to make it there. But the part of that pessimistic answer is not everybody's going to make it there. Some of these companies might fall off, but that doesn't mean that the industry as a whole is going anywhere.
Hmm.
I think you have to look at the longevity of it, and there well, just not to sound redundant, but there will be longevity. Esports is going to grow, but it's going to be a slow process. I mean, if you look at something like college football, like how many years has college football been a thing? Like, and sure, probably in the beginning it had its ups and downs, but if you take a step back and look at it, those ups and downs are still gradually going up. And I'm
Right.
not I'm not into like stocks and stuff, so I don't know the proper terminology of it. But yeah, no, I am on the optimistic side. We'll be fine. Yeah, the crypto thing is crazy with TSM. I won't talk about that. That's insane.
Right? No, it's absolutely insane. I think that
Yeah.
the
I mean, the way I see it is that it's not like people are playing less video games. So like there's only more room for like there's only more space for the scene to grow. Because people are playing games and is going to be like a demand for a competitive outlet, even if like the way some of these companies are operating now are a little not ideal, or you know whatever, the deals aren't really coming through at the moment, but eventually I think like it'll level off like you were saying, and probably just keep growing as like it becomes more normal and more common among people.
Yeah. One of the things I always like to say is, obviously COVID happened. Probably one of the top hobbies during the height of the pandemic was staying at home, playing video games. So if you're a LAN center during COVID, again, this is a pessimistic outlook, but you may not survive for that 2 years. Like, you may not have that money coming in to make it out. I hope you do, because the more people we have here, like, the better. I've always had that belief. Like, I will always root for you, even if you're my competitor. That's half an hour away from my center. But they may not make it as a LAN center. However, all of those kids that are playing at home, as soon as things start getting better, which they are, and hopefully they stay on that path, they're going to be looking for an outlet, just like you said. So the competitive side will be fine. The investments will come. We just have to be patient. There will be controversies, just like with any industry. We're not an exception to that. It's a part of growing pains. But yeah, I tend to lean more towards the positive side, despite all of the pessimistic things that I just named off.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned like LAN centers during COVID. The place I was running my tournaments at after quarantine, um, they signed the lease for their building on December 2019, and their first day open was like Valentine's Day 2020. And
Oh
then they
no,
were like locked down like 2 weeks later. Like, man, and then just no income for like a whole year.
that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, from a business standpoint, there was no way to forecast for that.
Mhm.
It's unfortunate, but I mean, hey, that's the world of business. And I guess I didn't, when I introduced myself, I didn't even say this. My actual job title is Director of Business Development for Game Arena. So shouts out Game Arena. If you're in Columbus, come to Game Arena. We have 2 locations. That's my advertisement.
hey, let's go game
Yeah,
arena.
that's your
There you go.
plug.
You only get one, by the way. You used it.
Oh man, dang.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
Now
well,
we're not talking about that
Oh,
tournament you're
nah, I don't
running in
know.
July now.
oh man. Uh,
No,
well,
we're
I'll
I
try
joking.
to bribe you both. If you are
okay,
ever in
perfect.
Columbus, I'll show you around. I'll buy you a drink.
I'll have to catch that one in because I'm gonna be there for the next cost for sure. It was funny. I just moved to KC when we drove all the way to Ohio for that event, so and it was a great time. I
You were very helpful. You were very
oh, I got
helpful,
you.
and I appreciated it. We had a good dinner afterwards.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, I didn't forget that. One thing that I always say is, I mean, just be positive and be respectful to everybody in the industry. You never know when they can help you out, and you did help me out immensely. So I do appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate you as well, and I'll be there for the next one. You need a head floor, Tio. I got you. Don't worry. I
Yeah, no, I can find something for you a little
ooh.
bit more official.
Well, we gotta bring KJS too. KJS, I've been trying to get him out of his little
Yeah,
hobbit hole.
I have like a boring 9 to 5, so it's hard for me to like, especially to travel for tournaments. But like, even just going to like a weekly is pretty tough for me to make time for sometimes. But I am like, I have put in a vacation request for cost. I'm gonna
Ooh,
try and
Oh
make
there you
it
yeah,
cost
go.
for sure.
See?
heck
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Bring Michigan dominated last year, so
yeah, they went crazy.
Zenodo, and then that was right when Onan was really like hitting
Right.
Yeah,
stride.
Yeah, yeah.
And
That was
I
his
was,
like breakout run where he went to like
yeah,
Toss, Combo Breaker, and Warp Zone and like dominated at all of them.
Yep.
it's funny because I remember when we were talking about seeding, and another shout out, Booker will laugh at this one. We underseeded Goofy Goober so bad. Shout out to Goofy Goober. We were, I was like, oh no, no, that was terrible.
That's
But I
funny.
remember having the discussion about Onin, and we were like, oh, it should. We originally had him like lower, and then we were like, no, 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 no. There was like an argument for first or second seed, and we were like, nothing lower than that. It has to be one of the top two seeds.
Yeah.
And obviously, it made sense. Hindsight's 2020, but yeah, that was the right call.
Yeah,
It
I mean
definitely
like
was.
Lunges and I were like sounding the alarm like when he started going to those tournaments cuz I don't remember which one was first, if it was Combo Breaker or Warp Zone, but like he was seated like 16th at one of them and then like ninth at the other one, and we were like he's going to win these. Like you need to be prepared.
I think it was Combo Breaker.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was Combo Breaker.
But yeah, and then like yeah, obviously like that was his big, bust onto the scene outside of Michigan. He had already won a couple tournaments in Michigan, so like we knew it was going to happen. So,
I'm kind of curious, right? Just to change gears a little bit. We're used to having like 16-year-olds on the show. I think there's been like 3 of them now. Um, yeah, it's always interesting because there's like, the pros in the space right now are so young. And
Mhm.
you're joining us in the 70s club now. So I'm curious about like how does being an old man kind of affect your relationship with Smash? Do you
Um, oh man, it's interesting because there's positives and negatives to it. So like the the negatives are like, man, I don't know how to talk to some of these kids. I always feel like I'm coming off as the old man yelling, like grouchy, like stop your friendlies, like hey, like why aren't you doing this? You're up on stage. Um, but no, there's the positives are I feel like people do respect me. I do feel like they listen to me, even if I do seem grouchy. Um, I feel like they respect the decisions that I come to, especially like the more important decisions when we're talking about. I don't know. I won't get into it, but like stuff that you deal with in your communities with certain people maybe not being allowed at a tournament, or like disciplinary stuff. I'll just make it generic. Um, but yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, they still see me as somebody that's in the ultimate community. It's a very welcoming community, and one of the things that I said earlier, like doing other games and then coming back to ultimate, has made me a better TO. It's also made me appreciate how welcoming the community is, because I don't feel like I've ever been, at least in Columbus, I don't feel like I've ever been at a Smash tournament where it felt like this group wasn't allowed or this group was made to feel uncomfortable. And I get that sentiment all over the Midwest. I can't really speak too much about outside of that. I've largely been mostly Midwest, some East Coast, but yeah, that's it's funny being I'm 29 years old, but that's like ancient to these kids, and it's funny how some of them look at me. One of the other things I like doing is I like I, I'm saying this coming off of winning an award for cost, but I don't like. I'm a person that doesn't necessarily like the spotlight. I love being able to run a tournament and then candidly being able to walk through a crowd and nobody have any idea who I am, because then I get honest feedback of the tournament. Like I can see if they're having a good time or not. People aren't trying to put on a specific face because I'm there. And for a long time, I've been able to do that. I'm starting to get to the point where maybe I'm not anymore, for better or for worse. But I would always prefer to be like the behind the scenes person that's setting everything up.
yeah.
I don't like being the face of anything.
you're a
That's
black shirt
a
at heart.
that's a
Yeah, yeah.
interesting contrast. I am very much like I'm very front and center of every one of my things. So like
I think
I think my name is even going to be in the like label of one of my tournaments this year. So
I feel like you have the personality for it though.
yeah, I try and keep things like fun and, upbeat. So I feel like that I bring that energy to the tournaments themselves. So
I I also do want to bring up so my role is interesting in the local scene. Um I don't run any of the weeklies. I'm a part of kind of the back end setting them up, but a lot of the credit I will give to these guys who are doing it every weekday, that are running stuff. Um, because I mean, without that, we don't have these large monthlies or regionals to build up to. Uh, so I do want to take a moment and say, like, for example, at the Ohio Smash Awards, Zion won TO of the year, and while everybody was deserving of being in that category that was nominated, Zion is a guy who works alongside me at Game Arena, but he runs Smashland, which I believe is still the second or third largest weekly in the Midwest. I think it's only behind Ignition. Um, and then I thought there was one other one I can't remember, but we usually average around like 60 to 70, sometimes in the 80s on a Thursday, and he runs the bracket perfectly every single time. 7 p.m. start, gets done by 11 p.m. So yeah, I did want to take a moment and just recognize some of those weekly TOs.
yeah, and like weeklies, like I also I'm the same way that I'm mostly like the guy in the background rather than running like the weeklies. I'm not like I just mentioned before. It's pretty hard for me to even attend a weekly. But I was running weeklies over the summer to last summer, and like it's kind of a grind. Like the having to dedicate one of your days no matter what to going to run a Smash tournament is like, that's time that you could be spent doing anything else. And you're going out there, you're setting up all these systems and everything, and running the bracket. So like, it takes dedication, a certain amount of dedication to be able to do that.
Yeah, and that's not to say that like we don't work our butts off for like larger events. There's a place for everybody,
Mm-hmm.
and I think the ecosystem, yeah, there's a place for everyone.
100%. So what are your thoughts on the current state of the Ohio Smash scene?
Oh, I am extremely happy with it. I don't know if you want to segue into let's make big moves crew battle because I'm eager
We
to
we
talk about that.
we have a
But
couple more questions about you first, but
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, we do the tournament recap after the interview, so
okay,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
No, I think it's in a great spot because you have so you have Cosmos who technically is Ohio, but it's like a difficult subject because he doesn't come out to much. Which my stance on that is, hey, he's his own player. You do you. But even taking that out, uh, Geist, Doorstop, Psycod, like Psycod, I believe it was a Big House that he finished ninth.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
I don't
Psycod made a
yeah, yeah.
crazy run, and he's not even top two in Ohio. He got ninth. Doorstop's been traveling all over the place. He does it full time now. He's a member of Cincinnati Fear, so that allows him to go to all these tournaments, and you can see his skill level rising and rising. He was just ranked for the second PR in a row, number one. And then you have Geist, who doesn't exactly have the luxury yet of Doorstop to be able to go to all these tournaments, but still finds a way to go out to a few. And I mean, when I say he dominates, he absolutely dominates. Doorstop has kind of started to figure him out, but let me put this into perspective for those who are unfamiliar with Geist. Game Arena, who is my employer, runs two weeklies on a Tuesday and Thursday. It's Tuesday Trials, which is going on right now at our OSU location, and it's Smashland, which is the one that I mentioned before. That's Thursday, and it's one of the largest in the Midwest. In 2022, every single tournament that he was present at for both of those, every single weekly that he was present at, he finished first. Not
Jesus.
once did he drop below that. And that's with people like like Frostbite stopping by. That's with people like Psychot himself like showing up. Squiggles, who is a Lucas player from Dayton, he actually did take a set off of Geist, but then Geist came right back out of losers and rolled him. Like, so I think overall, especially at the top, which is what I've talked about thus far, Ohio Smash is in a really good area. When you go further down the PR and then go into some of the contenders, there's a lot of character diversity and there's a lot of region rivalries that are interstate. So you have like Southwest Ohio, which is Cincinnati. You have Miami of Ohio, which for whatever reason is its own region, but they're like super stacked as a university. You have Northeast Ohio, which has for the longest time been considered the best Smash region in Ohio. You have Northwest Ohio's in a unique position right now. But Deuster is doing all they can do to bolster that region. That largely bleeds into Michigan, though. I'm sure you're familiar with the
Yeah,
Toledo
yeah.
area, Kevin.
We get Straw Hat Kid and Gary at almost all of our tournaments, so and
Oh,
they're both pretty good.
yo, I love Straw Hat Kid. Like Straw Hat Kid, like I know Pac-Man gets a ton of crap, but like I don't know. I love that kid. He finished, I think it was fourth or fifth at Flavortown Throwdown, which was stacked, and he was seeded, I think, to finish ninth. I believe I don't remember. I'd have to look it up. But yeah, but character diversity, regional rivalries, and then top heavy contenders that are like contenders out of state. I mean, Geist kind of got screwed with the bracket at Let's Make Big Moves. I believe he lost to Jen and then lost to Lima in pools.
It's real
But I
bad.
mean, you
It
saw
is
what he
real
did in the
bad.
crew battle. Like, I think we're in a good spot.
Heck yeah, that's good to hear. I mean, I think that there is a certain amount of doomer talk about Smash, but we've never been in a better spot since like when the game dropped and when we first got out of quarantine. Like I think we're in a pretty good spot overall. As much as I hate Steve, but that's
Yeah,
wait,
Steve
Ohio
and
doesn't have
Bowsia
any.
can be annoying sometimes. Like I get it, but I I don't. I've been around for a long time. I don't feel the same way that I felt with like Smash Four Bayo or Brawl Meta Knight. Like I just don't feel that way.
Listen, as a viewer, like I when I watched Bayo in Smash 4, I hated it. I thought that was the lamest character ever to exist. But when I'm watching Kazuya, I think it's very funny and very cool to watch him beat people. So like I think even from a viewership perspective, the like Steve and Kazuya are way less annoying than like Bayo and Meta Knight before.
Yeah, and they're annoying at times, but yeah, I do not get that sense at all that they're like a game killer. Like I don't know. I feel like a lot of people have already started adapting. Um, but that's just me.
From
Yeah, I
from
mean, I agree. It's like similarly, like when Bayo started winning tournaments, it was like Bayo was winning tournaments. Like here we have Aquila. Obviously, is incredible, and Onan has won a couple things, but like, there's still a lot of other characters that are winning. It's not like just because there's a Steve there, they're taking down everybody.
Yeah, there's it's a large roster. You're still seeing the diversity in these top eight graphics. You're still seeing a decent character breakdown. Um, yeah, you for everyone watching, you'll never see them banned at any of my tournaments.
We'll
Nice,
convince you.
nice.
We'll convince you. The council will convince you.
No, no.
Just so you know, I'm anti-ban as well. Booker's just a baby.
He's got Onan. That's why. That's why he's got to hold on to Michigan being good.
We in Ohio we really only have like a couple of good Steve players. We have Pig. We have
Pig is good. I like Pig.
Pig. Yeah, Pig's good. Toasted Art, and a few others, but it hasn't been like a problem. Maybe
We'll just
that's
give it.
why I'm the way I am.
We'll give it some time. We'll let it sit a second here. Well, Spencer will join the right side of history. So go ahead. Go to kind of like the next question here. And I know that we've kind of we like talking to you, so I'm super willing to use all our time on it. Um,
Me too. Yeah.
but
Likewise.
what is your opinion on the Midwest skill level in comparison to like the rest of the world? You've been around the block, right? You
Oh,
kind of seen all depth of it.
I so I I think I mean I'll always rep Midwest. Like I'm the type that like if I'm not at a tournament, I have like dual screen like watching everything, and I'll always root for like even though he's 10 hours away from me, I'll always root for Skittles or I'll always root for Apollo Kage or like I'll always root for Ned. Unless they're playing like somebody from Ohio, then I always default to Ohio. I got to root for my state. But overall, Midwest, which includes Ohio. No, I think we always like get trashed on for whatever reason. I think it's just like a meme and it's popular to do. But like I don't know. I feel like anytime I see a Midwest rep in bracket, I'm like, oh, this is doable. I never feel like it's not doable. So I'm like you. I always will say like Midwest over everybody. If I'm being realistic, like if I match Midwest up against the entire country of Japan, then I'm not gonna be like, yeah, Midwest takes these easy. but but yeah, I like where we're at. Like just like I said with Ohio, like I like where Ohio's at. I like where the Midwest is at. I feel like each state has its own flair, um, has its own kind of different feel, and with the exception of maybe a few states, which I refuse to name, I feel like we're all pretty competitive.
We know you're talking about Indiana and Wisconsin, so
We'll let them beef amongst each other. It's okay. Ohio only catches a couple strays on this show, I swear. It's just a couple. Don't worry about it.
Hey, but shout out to Comet though.
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Comet's cool. He gets a
Friend
pass.
friend of the show
Yeah,
comment.
friend of the
Friend
show, Comet.
There you go.
Uh, we've eventually we'll have like every notable person from every Midwest state on, so we won't be able to trash talk anybody because they'll have all been on the show before.
No, that's when it really starts getting fun. That's when you
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
have uh, you do the matchup. You have two people on at once, and you say, "Oh, so and so said this about you."
I've been thinking about a round table for a bit. I think that like if we get like 5 or 6 like TOs or top players and have like a bunch of hard hitting questions, that could be good content. So,
I
you
think
might be back here. You might be back.
I would love to do that.
I have I last couple questions here. I'll take one. KJ's, you got the hard
I'll get
hitting
the
one.
finale one.
Yeah, you got the finale.
Yeah.
So we ask everybody that comes on here, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Oh man. Hopefully, I just want to keep growing with the esports industry. Like even if I stay on par with it, then I'm happy. So as it continues to grow, if I'm in the same role, doing the same thing, but the events are slightly larger, it's reaching more people, then I'm happy. Um, yeah, I foresee myself not just 5 years. I foresee myself when I'm like close to retirement age, still trying to play Smash and still trying to run Smash. Um, yeah, I just want to be on par with the game itself and with the industry at large.
Yeah, we'll be in the retirement homes playing Smash. We'll run brackets
Yeah,
there. It'll be the first assistant living bracket.
yeah, yeah.
All
All right.
right. Last question here. What is your hot take?
What is my hot take?
Yeah.
Um, so I already gave you the paper bracket one, but "Learning to Fly" but is Tom Petty's best song. I don't know if
Okay.
that's a hot take
Okay.
or not.
Not
It's
familiar
so
enough with.
far above our target demographic. It's just gonna be like
Nobody has any idea what I'm
nobody.
talking
not
about.
not only is it not Smash related, but it's also like an older artist. Okay, so Learning to Fly, for reference, Tom Petty also does Free Fallin', which would probably be his most like recognizable song. Um
I think that's a hot take. I don't know. I have like I have nostalgic purposes for liking that song, and actually, this does go with the Midwest conversation. I was driving through Iowa with my buddy. We always make it a point to do a summer road trip every single summer. And like it was just like the perfect moment where like the sun was like setting and we're in Iowa and it's like after a long day and the song comes on and it was just like I don't know, it's good vibes. So uh yeah, Learning to Fly is Tom Petty's best song. Also, I do not think Pac-Man is lame, and that is why you see him on stream at my tournaments a lot. And so okay, story real fast, real fast. So this dates back to one of my first big breaks in Smash with TOing was so back when 2GG was still a thing, they ran a tournament in Ohio at a mall. It went terribly. I told Charles at the time, like, dude, like, you got to come to Game Arena. Like, you got to run it at Game Arena. So he decides, okay, we're going to run it back. We're going to literally call the tournament, run it back, and we're going to bring out some Japanese players. So Umeki, Kome, and T. We got T at our tournament. And ever since then, I thought Pac-Man was so freaking cool. Like, I watched him this is hilarious. I watched him roll up on a rented moped, like roll up to the venue, walk in like 10 minutes before his first round one, and just I think he got hit by this kid 3 times total in this best of 3. Just absolutely destroys him. And then that tournament he ended up losing to Leon, which was when Leon was first kind of popping off. But yeah, T got so many clips that were on like these compilations on YouTube from that tournament, and I was super proud to be involved in that tournament. And he was like so humble and such a nice kid. And so ever since then, like I don't know, I've loved Pac-Man. Sai, the commentator, was giving me shit the other day. I don't know if I can cuss. I'm sorry.
No, it's cool.
Was
Crazy.
okay. He was giving me crap for giving him a block of commentary at Flavortown Throwdown with multiple Pac-Man like in a row. He's like, "What are you doing?" And I think afterwards there was a Yoshi matchup too with like
Oh
Winter
no,
Shorts or somebody. And he's like, "What are you doing to me?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry, man."
that's good. I've been giving him Brawlhalla gigs, so I'll make sure to give him as long as the most boring sets as possible to keep it going.
He's one of my favorite commentators. Obviously, I'm biased because he's Ohio. Him and
Oh yeah.
Emma do a fantastic job, and they're diversifying themselves in terms of what they're commentating. So it's a way to go.
Heck yeah.
All
Awesome.
right. Well, we cut people loose here, but we're gonna do like a tourney recap, talk about a couple tournaments, and you're welcome to stick around if you want to talk about Ohio at Let's Make Big Moves, and we'll be talking about the Ohio first annual Ohio Smash Awards too.
I think
Yeah, I'd love to stick around.
we kind of have to give you your own platform though, because this is typically in the show when we play our ads. So we have a person
Oh
who
yeah,
can just
yeah,
be
that's
their
right.
own ad here,
Yeah,
which is
yeah, yeah.
perfect.
I thought I used mine already.
No, no, we'll give it
We
to
were
you.
joking. We were joking.
All
We'll
right,
take.
all right.
I
So
wasn't.
cost
I'll take the
2023.
free drink. So.
Gotcha. cost 2023. June 10th and 11th at COSI. COSI is a science museum. It's actually rated #1 in the United States. It's a really cool venue. I don't know how many people last year actually explored it, other than going to the tournament. But yeah, come to Cost 2023, June 10th and 11th in Columbus, Ohio. Um, I have a few other tournaments that I'm working on that I can't really say right now, but I have something coming to that I'm going to be a part of. It's not mine, but I'm a part of it. That's coming to Illinois soon. That will be a quick turnaround, but there's going to be some pot bonuses there. Shouts out to pretty much the entire staff of Game Arena, Justin, the head of Game Arena, Kevin, Chris Postel, Austin, Ken, Gabe, both Gabes, Liam. I'm missing a bunch of people, but yeah, working with Game Arena in Columbus has been a dream. It's a lot of fun. It's still surreal. I still wake up in the morning, can't believe that I get to do esports full time. So that's all I have for now.
Nice, nice.
Heck yeah.
All right, well, moving on, we can talk about the cruise for Let's Make Big Moves. I know you were excited to talk about Ohio's performance there earlier. So now here's your chance. I was looking, so they took out Florida and Chicago. I didn't actually get to see these crew battles. I think they were on Friday. I might have still been working when these were happening.
Friday.
Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah.
yeah, they were. I think the most notable thing here, and I said it beforehand, but the only people that could take down Midwest is Midwest. They decided we were too powerful, so they had to put us both on the same side of the bracket. The unfortunate Ohio Chicago team kill came through, but I'm so beyond hype that Ohio made it all the way to the finals. Like you cannot begin to describe to you, and it wasn't like a carry either, which is great. I always it's always that fear whenever you see people do really well. You're like, oh man, they might have just gotten carried by like the one PGR player or something. But everybody holds their own, dude. That team was killer.
Yeah. So yeah, that was my fear as well with Cosmos being involved. Again, my stance with that is, I mean, you do you. The player does what they want to and what they should do. It's not for me to say in terms of coming to Ohio tournaments. But I want to start with that first matchup, Philly. There was some trash talk there. It kind of dates back to like the week or two before Cost. Um, and yeah, we got him. We didn't start off well. I think Cosmos only took one stock. But then Toast brought it back and Geist finished it off. So the whole team was stacked. Andrew T, doorstop, like um, obviously we beat Florida as well. The Chicago Midwest team kill sucked, but I mean we had to move on. Um, I was actually unfamiliar with, and I apologies if I mispronounced the tag, but I was unfamiliar with Meowscarda.
Yeah, Meowscarada,
That's
I don't know.
Mabel.
Yes, that is already an established player that just changed their name for the fourth time. It's the Chicago Classic.
Okay, yeah,
Uh,
that the
yep,
doc is sick. Their
yep.
doc is like, I was like, oh my goodness, like crazy. But yeah, and then we were competitive against Mexico. Like Meister hitting that 9 was crazy, but like we only lost by 2 stocks. So I don't
That's
know. I
not
was
bad.
proud. I was proud of
That's
him.
not bad. No, and I hope to see more crew battle stuff. But crew battles get a little bit of flack, I think, because it's such a time investment. Um, the last time that I was privy to an Ohio member being on a crew battle doorstep didn't do too well, unfortunately. We did what did we do? We did Heartland versus Great Lakes at LUA 4, but it was mostly Chicago because the rest of Jin ghosted me in all of Kentucky and Indiana decided to schedule events on us. But I only got to see Doorstop. But it's great. I love watching Doorstop play. But it's nice to see Ohio really come to shine because you guys got some killers. It is absolutely crazy out there right now.
Yeah,
Um,
even with the second place finish, I mean, I'll take that any day of the week. That was super fun to watch. I said before we went live, I didn't get to watch it live. I actually saw the reactions on Twitter because I was working another event. But then I went back and watched it, and it was just as hype watching the recording, even though I knew what was going to happen. But from all accounts, I wasn't there, but I heard great things about the event. I heard it was ran very well. The best of 5 all the way through was super cool to see, kind of as an experiment. Um, but yeah, the crew battle was very entertaining.
yeah. Well, I think that's all we got for cruise, but there is an entire event here too. Let's Make Big Moves was this weekend, by the way. If you were just tuning in, we are just delving into our competition segment, and it was a big shaker. I think Let's Make Big Moves really just goes down as like it is just the tone setter for a year. You know, we go into a new year, let's make big moves happen, and it's just completely new storylines. Anything that happened previously doesn't matter, right? There's so many upsets from the Lucarios doing crazy well, Amaryllis and Armadillo, just like crazy well. I think this is the highest place in Lucario's period to most of top eight not making top eight. What Onin, unfortunately, the boy, but got eliminated at 25th. Who else is here? I'm looking at this. The Sinji and the Kronos losers runs that were like crazy. They both got knocked into losers at like pools, right? And you just see them work their way up. Um, I don't know. Do you have a favorite thing here? We made some predictions off of this, KJs. Your boy
Yeah,
almost did it.
both of our predictions were dangerously close to becoming true. For people that didn't see last week, Booker predicted that Sonic. Sonics would win the tournament, and he ended up getting third. Uh, I I did you see how the Spargo Sonics game ended?
Yep.
And when that
Yep.
missed, I was
And
like,
right up.
these are the side betting gods just destroying Booker yet again.
I still have not recovered from Rise and Grind, so
Yeah,
it's they're just hitting me again and again. I think it would have been like if I was doing like odds and stuff though, I would have gotten most of my money back from it. He did get third. He was a ninth place
yeah.
projection.
And then
But
my prediction was for enhanced PV to make top 16, and he got 17th. But to get there, he took down every Midwest player you can imagine. He beat Andrew T, Ned, Onan, and then he lost to Apollo Kage. When he beat Onan, I was like, oh no, I shouldn't have predicted he would make top 16. And then I saw his next set was versus AK, and I was like, I cursed all of us. But
I remember Kay just messaged me. He's like, "This was the monkey paw prediction. He killed all of Midwest for this, for not even getting top 16."
yeah,
It was,
yeah, AK stopped him in the end.
thank you, AK. Hats off to the Snake man. Um, yeah, fantastic storylines. Riku, of course, you're gonna talk about Riku. The underseeding of who was it? Apple. Apple didn't get seeded at all. I think he was like 226 seed or something. It was a fantastic upset thread. I had a great time running that one. There's so many cool things happening. But yeah, let's make big moves. Fantastic. I think I heard it on commentary from Max Ketchum, but like might be the new age of the Spargo and Tweak. That is like the new gods fighting against each other. MK Leo's still here, but like we're definitely entering a different timeline. Maybe we'll
Yeah,
see.
Tweak looks way more refined in his gameplay than he has since Ultimate has come out. Basically, I feel like he hasn't looked as sharp as he does right now.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know what it is. I think it's like you know what? It's always been a confidence thing. Let's be honest here. It's always been a confidence thing. The second that Tweak has confidence in his play and his abilities, he is above the moon, the best player in the room. And I think that that's something whatever he's done, whatever like picked up Diddy Kong, whether it's like working on just shoring up some of the holes in his mental fortitude. He is just on top of the world right now. So pleasure to watch for people that like Diddy Kong. I despise watching Diddy Kong because I have Smash 4 flashbacks, but some people like that character. I'm sure. You're a big Diddy Kong fan here, Spencer?
Uh, I would say I'm impartial, but I do like. I will say Tweaks Diddy Kong, like the movement. It just feels so clean. Also Spargo versus Tweak. Yeah, I if I could have that every single grand finals, I'll take that. Like it's super fun to watch. I did get kind of um worried when Spargo came out of losers. Just I forget what tournament it was previously. I think it happened maybe 2 or 3 times. I could be wrong of Spargo coming out of losers and beating Tweak. Maybe just once.
Oh, I think it was at Ludwig's, I think.
Was
But
it?
don't quote me. Yeah. It was a
I
recent
feel
one.
I feel like there was one other one, but I just feel like I saw that before. Like as soon as he came out of losers, I was like, oh no. But no, I was very happy that Tweak won. I like Tweak. Super. The few interactions that I've had with him, super respectful. Just a chill guy. So and Spargo's cool too. Like no bad things about either of them, and their play is just so hype. But overall, I really enjoyed like spectating that, and I really appreciate you, Booker, for doing the upset threads. I like keeping track of those.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
for
got you.
like I had to work this weekend, and for some like I love the upset threads because like if I'm not able to tune in or like look at the bracket, I could just scroll through and be like, oh, sick! Like this is the cool stuff that I missed. You know?
There's a couple new bots that are doing it, and I'm like, well, I mean, the bots could do it, but like, I like my upsets threads look in a particular way, and I might as well just keep doing it. It's fun. It's fun. I like enjoy it. I got a couple nice messages from it too. The people are like, oh yeah, I've always appreciated looking at it because there's like stuff going on, so it makes me feel good, and I just love it. So heck yeah. And there's a couple other tournaments this weekend too that was not able to kind of cover with those. First one, I think I could hand it off to Spencer. You weren't running this one, right? You didn't
No,
run.
no. So
Okay.
actually, I had a separate event. I had a charity event that I was a part of.
Oh yeah, yep, yep.
Um, so I was doing that. and I'm not even going to pretend like I was asked to do this. This was an entirely separate team that is more than capable of running stuff. Time Gear, who's a player here in Ohio, prominent Columbus player, was actually the head TO of this event. It was his vision to do a Ohio Smash Awards, and let me just say he pulled it off magnificently. He had help from Esteban, Mr. V, and a few others. These are Ohio players, so if there's anybody watching from Ohio, they'll recognize these names. But yeah, it was talking about upsets. It was top eight had a 13th seed, 11th seed, a 29th seed. The Dark Shad going into the tournament was the number one seed. He got beat by BFP, who was the 29th seed and losers. Or maybe it was winner side. I think it was losers though. But yeah, BFP, a local Luigi player, made an insane run at this tournament. And then another thing to highlight is Thas has been popping off lately. The Ohio Fox player, very very clean movement, very fast, very fun to watch. He's been on a tear recently, and I believe in the Southwest Ohio PR, regardless of what you think about sub-region PRs. He was recently named number one, and deservedly so. I believe that's correct. Fact check me on that, people. But yeah, so this was a very fun event. Obviously, I was not able to be there the whole time. I did make it for top 32, so I was able to spectate some of that. But a lot of upsets, good atmosphere. It was at a beautiful rec center in Dublin, Ohio, and yeah, just Time Gear did a fantastic job running it. It was really nice. It was the trophies were really cool. I'll have to hold on. I'll be right back. I'm gonna grab the trophy. Hold on.
Oh, okay. He's gonna show us the gold. All
We
right.
have to bring the TOs that are running these events, or at least have like all this information back on, because I love this. I love getting so much out of a TO, and he's just feeding us storylines right now. What do we got?
Okay.
Oh wow!
Dang, that's
Look
sick.
at
Yeah.
you. That's like a whole ass trophy. Look at
Yeah,
that.
so event of the year. Like these were really nice. I don't know what I was expecting, but they like went all out. And then this is Zion's trophy. I had to accept it for him. He wasn't
Move
there.
it over a
But
little more. We can't see what the words say on that one. There we go.
Okay. TO of the year. Man,
Nice,
that's
nice.
cool.
that's Zion's, and then that was
Event
for
of the
cost.
year. Hey,
Nice,
Yeah.
congratulations
nice.
again.
No,
Well
no.
deserved. Well deserved.
Thank you. There was the category was pretty stacked. But yeah, it was a really cool event. The way they did it was like an award show, like an actual award show. I don't know what I was expecting, but yeah, the gameplay was super fun to watch. Carl's versus Thas and winners finals, and then it ended up being Carl's versus Thas again in grand finals, I believe. I don't have the bracket in front of me, but Carl's a longtime Shulk player. Um, it was a really good event.
Yeah, I'm looking at
Wow.
this.
I just saw Worry got top 3 at this.
That's what I'm
Worry.
saying.
Yeah.
Crazy
Uh
losers run. So yeah, worry's fun to watch too. Yeah, I completely forgot about that. Yeah, there was so much that was happening at this event. Obviously doubles, Hawk and Linus were there, so that was like guaranteed. But and then Hawk kind of I think we were saying this before we went live, but kind of got screwed with the bracket. There was an upset in that pool. And then he got upset and then had to play Mac Attack in losers round one. And then absolutely just destroyed an amateur bracket. But yeah, Worry, Carl's, Thas, BFP, like top eight was really really interesting. It was not what was projected at all.
yeah.
But yeah, overall great event. I'm excited to be back in that venue. It's kind of newer. It's only the second Smash event that's ever been ran in that venue, and I'm working on getting back over there. Probably Q2 of this year.
Yeah.
Nice, nice. Booker, what region is Worry from?
That's Kentucky, my friend.
Okay. He
He is one
cuz
of the
Go ahead.
the three ghosts of Christmas past, right? That are playing right now. The Diddy Kongs of the Great Lakes that have been making waves. I'm so
Yeah,
excited to see him
cuz
making some plays.
yeah, he did really good here. He had a really good run at the big house as well. He got
Hmm.
I can't remember, but he got however far you have to get a picture taken. if that's top 96 or
I think
higher.
you forgot to seed him, right? Wasn't that what it was?
Maybe that's what happened, but I don't know.
Somebody.
Listen, it
Yeah,
was so long ago. Who even remembers the seeding at this point? You know?
you know, I'm looking at this too. You guys got the Yoshis, my boy Weeblewobs, the STL transplant coming in as well, doing very
Yo,
well.
Weeblewobs, he popped off at Flavortown Throwdown too.
Yep, yep.
Yeah, I was talking about Thass being on a tear recently, but Weeblewobs, and it's funny because he teams with Winter Shorts too. So you have the double Yoshi team,
Ah, God,
Oh my
which
Jesus.
just
goodness.
everybody, you get the bracket feedback, and it's always like, "Hey, don't seed me to play these two." um,
We'll see
but
a sharp decline in doubles entrance going forward, I
Yeah,
imagine.
but they thought it was hilarious that I just kept calling them Double Yoshi, like, but it worked. I would yell it out. This is at Flavortown, not at the Ohio Smash Awards, but they would just turn around. They would know instantly. But yeah, Weeble Wobs has been playing out of his mind as well. So a lot going on in Ohio. A lot of, like I said, character diversity, region diversity, and yeah, Kentucky always usually invades us with a few players. Not so much at the Ohio Smash Awards, but Jen will come up here sometimes. Wilds will come up here. Speaking of Kazuya, so yeah, it's always fun to see Kentucky.
Heck yeah. Well, it seemed to be a good event. And we have one more, by the way. We've been branching out a bit when it comes to just specifically Midwest stuff, of course. There was a couple Midwest players here, but unfortunately, none of them made top eight. Rip to the KC crew. But set count 2-1 was this weekend. Set count 2-2 is going to be the new one. The next one coming up. I saw that that was the new name for it. I think it's a great naming convention. Um,
Okay.
yeah, but that is the first event series ran by, or like the first event ran by this TO team. I'm gonna get his name. I'm gonna get the TO's name. He's been on my like timeline. I think it's Joe Willicky, right? Yeah, Joe Wickley. So he's like Texas TO, first big time, like the first big event that he's put on. It was massive attendance because it was an overall like FGC event. Smashed at 192, still very respectable. I think a lot of us didn't run our first event with 192 people. First regional with 192, that'd be crazy. Um, Johnny Fortnite Kennedy taking it, of course. It's gonna be winning that event. I think he's still on Falco. It's either that or he's one of those guys that I always see as like the meme guy. So he plays like Minecraft Steve. I'm not sure. I think it was Falco. I could have sworn it was Falco, but he took it over Grayson. Um, you see a lot of familiar faces: Smub, Mudace, Bullhall, Z3. Z3 doing really well. Another young link. We haven't. There's been this like lull in young link performances. I think specifically because like Toast hasn't been going to a bunch, and Skittles has been having some lackluster performances as of late when going to majors. But now there's a new young link on the Chicago PR. Z3's been making really good runs. There was a solid run at Rise and Grind where C3 took down Raven King, so nice to see that they're doing pretty well. And then a couple people from under the radar, Renegades, Skinny the Pooh. I don't think would be. It's not too surprising they've been making top eight. I think there were some people that could make it over them. What are the upsets here? Grayson took down Mudace. Rocky didn't even make top eight. He got taken down. Justin 22. Those were the two Midwest guys. Both of them were gone immediately. As pour one out to the guys, I think double 13th places. Um, but yeah, no, Texas has the ability to run a 200 person event at the same time that there's a major going on, and I think that says a lot about Texas. Texas is just they need more tournaments over there. I swear they just do not have enough regional travel. Even when like RNG happened, not enough Texas players just like went to it. Like, because there was a chunk of Texas people, but it was mostly like out of towners. Like, I swear there was more Washington state people that were at the event than there was overall Texas people.
Hmm.
So I would like to just see more Texas. I think Texas is solid. They have this problem. I think previously they kind of like it's a scheduling problem. I know we know nothing about that. I know Midwest has never had a scheduling problem in our entire lives, and we're so good at communicating and updating our calendars. Um, but but yeah, I think Texas just like schedules on top of people, and then it's like all the little sub regions schedule on top of each other, and then they never have enough travel. Um, but hopefully we'll see some more from it. Nice to see some Texas events. But I think that's all we got. I think that's our show.
Yeah, I think
You
that's
anything?
the show.
Yeah.
Anything you
Well,
want to shout out at the end here, Diablo?
All you children, go listen to "Learning to Fly." by Tom Petty.
I've got it queued up to play right after this. Can't play it on the stream, you know. I'll get a copyright strike, but
No, I don't.
Uh,
We don't want that.
yeah,
a new
right
generation
after.
of Tom Petty listeners have been born from just this podcast, by the way. So
Yeah,
nice job
yeah.
keeping them alive.
Diablo's been
Doing the
shouting
Lord's
stuff
work.
out the whole show, so I'm not surprised that the last one went to Tom Petty though. All right, Booker, anything to say to the people before we head out here?
No, if you guys are watching this on YouTube, please put recommendations for people that you want on the show. We always love to have some more recommendations. If we're left to our own devices, we'll keep bringing on TOs because those guys are the best people. But give us some recommendations. But thank you guys so much for watching. Oh, and
Yeah,
like and subscribe.
yeah.
I
Make
got
sure
it.
to like and subscribe. But yeah, I do love bringing on people that are I just nod along with them and I go, yeah, you're right. Yep, I agree. Love bringing on other TOs. So it's been a fun time, Diablo. Thank you for coming on the show. And thank you everybody that is watching this. Everybody, have a good night.